studio with us today here at Sirius XM. You've heard of Prince and the Revolution. The revolution is here. But I guess Prince is here too in spirit, is he not?
Yes,
Always.
he is.
Yeah, and we're going to get into all that. We got Mark Brown, Dr. Fink,
Brown Mark.
Brown Mark, and Lisa Coleman and Bobby Z, all right here in studio with us. How y'all doing?
Good.
Great thing.
So you all are on tour, right?
That's
right.
So here in New York on, is it Friday night?
Thursday and
Thursday and
Friday.
Friday.
Yep, tomorrow.
So
At
that's tomorrow.
Sony Hall.
At Sony Hall. What's it like getting back together and being on tour? I mean, how do you, obviously you think about him and you get
Definitely.
it gets kind of deep, doesn't it?
Yeah. We were
Yeah.
we were all family, so it was like losing a brother, and us coming back together. We had gotten together a few times, but for that particular time period, it actually helped because we have a really deep love for one another. And by us being together, it's like, when you lose anyone, you get together with family. And that's exactly what we did, and it really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, it was very emotional in the beginning when we got together, obviously, and it's taken some time for us to get through that. The grief, it still comes and goes, even where we are now. I don't know if we'll ever have it.
Might never.
It's hard because
And you don't have to. You're not expected to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No,
that's
no.
the impact.
But
Yeah.
it helps. It helps us to be out playing again, and it helps the fans in particular too. And so now it's becoming more of a celebration, past the grieving a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Bobby,
yeah,
you want to add?
it's the interaction with the audience. Everybody's kind of bringing this unknown Prince is not here anymore vibe, and he's alive in our DNA. He's got we got his DNA in us, in these arrangements, in our hands, and these notes. We're playing the same energy that we gave to him, and the audience then, and it's alive when we do it, and we're starting to feel that even more and more as we do it. That that we're kind of conjuring up, all of the energy that surrounds. Because music was everything to him, everything.
Right.
Everything.
So that's the way we communicate to him in a seance kind of way.
Is that right? Lisa, was music everything to you? Is it still everything to you too?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just it's true. Like what Prince really wanted to connect to as many people as possible.
Right.
And he was a really shy person, in his personal kind of life and functioning. But, as a performer, he gave everything and let it all out. And we were the band, at least back when we were the band, we were the thing that, I think Bobby said one time, like, we were the net, and he could be up on the high wire, and he could do all he had to do, all his stunts on the high wire, and we were kind of the energy that held him up there. And so now if you come see us, when we really, hit our stride, that's what we're doing. It's that same energy, and Prince is coming through us and still connecting to as many people as possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Did you all come together, each of you, or was it a little staggered? Did you all kind of come together with him and the band at around the same time, or what?
No.
It was over it was a period of quite a while, actually. I met him end of 77, 78, and the band started to form 79, 80, different members, adding Matt first, then Mark, then Lisa, and then Wendy over
Lisa
a period of
before
time.
me, yeah.
What's that?
Lisa before me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. And it just became the right combination of people, like with everything Prince, it was always looking, building blocks,
Yeah.
puzzle. You know, Wendy was the last piece of the puzzle, and then the catapult. You know, boom. So he was planning. He wanted a gang. You know, he loved he wanted a group of people, like Lisa was saying. He wanted people behind him, so he could be himself, or as outrageous as he possibly be, because the music behind him would support that, and he got that with the five of us.
Did everybody come together in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
No,
Well, except
well,
for Lisa and Wendy.
Lisa was a transplant.
Wendy and Lisa came from Los Angeles, where they were born and bred. But yeah, everything was rehearsed in Minneapolis for the most part. But we'd go out to LA too for a while and do things out there as a group, and do promo videos, and also rehearse out there a bit.
You know, we talk about different centers of music and where musicians came to be in groups, and you know, we know about Sound of Philadelphia and all that. But if I'm not mistaken, Prince was the one that put Minneapolis on the map.
No,
really?
for sure.
I mean, that's just you. Whenever you think of Minneapolis music, you think about him. What was it about? Because obviously, what he did and what you all did was exceptional and is exceptional. What was it about Minneapolis?
I can tell you from being an African American,
Okay.
growing up in Minneapolis, what happened is, you know, we had one black radio station, KUXL, and it went off when the sun set.
Okay.
So that was it, and it wasn't on every day of the week, and so we were very limited to the type of music, you know, black music that we could reach, that we could get our hands on. We stayed in the music stores waiting for whoever was coming out next. So we grew up listening to, you know, John Denver and Peter Frampton and, you know, Peter Gabriel. I mean, that's all we had. So in our DNA, and you hear it through all the you know, especially the R&B musicians that come out of there, is we have kind of a rock edge to us. And I really believe that's why it happened that way. I know that's why it happened to me, because I was exposed to so much pop rock and rock music that when I actually started writing music, it has rock overtones. And when I got in Prince, I just kind of fit right in there because I grew up the same way that he did.
It is and correct me if I'm wrong. I've just always had a hard time. Even not that you are right now, but I've always had a hard time categorizing what you all have done in one genre of music.
Totally.
Right? I mean, is that fair to say?
fair to
Can that be done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it overlaps in a lot of places, doesn't it?
Yeah, so
Right,
many
yeah.
categories, you know, so many genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember really early on, Prince didn't do interviews, you know, himself very much, and he would ask me and Wendy to do them. And at one point, he said, use the word alternative, that we're an alternative music, and that later became popular with alternative, you know, rock music.
Yeah.
But this was in like '82 and '83. He was saying just use the word alternative because, you know, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, and everything was into categorizing back then, and radio was very strict with the categories, and you know, so we had to kind of like just make our own way through there and hit hard.
Yeah, and radio still kind of like that. I mean, they have
yeah.
the strict, you know, the urban, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that in my reading of history, the geniuses never really want to be categorized. You know,
Yeah.
Duke Ellington, we always say jazz, but he really didn't want to be called jazz, honestly.
No.
You know, it was his music. He wanted to be, you know, deep in that. Somebody once wrote even that if their lives had overlapped, Duke Ellington probably would have done something with Prince.
Oh, for sure.
Right,
Oh,
yeah, right.
sure.
for
And
sure.
Prince with Duke Ellington.
Oh,
Exactly.
for
Right.
sure. Well, look at
Exactly.
Miles and Prince.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Miles
That
Davis.
absolutely. What was it like, the work part of it? Because obviously, you know, things were very focused, very serious. I mean, you all, you know, hit it precisely. Was he difficult in any way, or was he always nurturing? I mean, what was it like pulling that all together?
I wouldn't call it difficult. I would just call it, his love of music was so profound and so deep that he just drove us to be the best we could be, no matter what, you know. And
Yeah.
and we had the same yearning for success, so we went on that same journey with him, and helped him to succeed, and in turn it brought success to the group. And it was a great experience because of his work ethic was stronger than anything I'd experienced.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah, it was the
It's
we were the
just something
we're the
else.
Marines. You know?
Yeah, we
We're the musical Marines. We,
definitely.
I call it the Prince University of Purple Funk.
Oh yeah,
You know, because, I mean,
we're all doctors.
it was going to school with him.
Clearly. And did you all find yourselves ever like challenged too much or overwhelmed? Did you ever feel like, hey, maybe this is kind of out of my league?
Oh
Or-
no, not me.
You, my man said no.
I was swallowing. I was taking it all in.
So you always felt up
But,
to the task.
you know, I just have to say that, you know, Prince was a very intense, but also, you know, vulnerable human being too. And there was times when, you know, he had to believe that he needed our support too. You know, it was such a monumental task. What, you know, timing is everything, and
Right.
for Purple Rain to fall on the end of his first 6-album deal, and his answer to that was "Get me a movie." You know, he set himself up for challenges that made us want to support. He was reaching. You know, he was pushing himself to the boundaries. So there was days when we were all kind of wondering, you know, what we could do to help, but sometimes it was just, you know, faith.
Yeah, just faith. I'm not sure that we even now have a full appreciation. I mean, we know the popularity of his music, and we know the following on that level, but I'm not sure that people still really have a full appreciation of what he did as a genius in music. Because a few people come along and they change the music, they change the beat, they change the approach. You know, kind of like James Brown. Of course, he's been compared to that, but to him, do you think that the public in general really has the full appreciation of the genius that he was?
I think they have pieces of it, yeah, and I think sometimes they even make up their own versions.
Yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah.
but there, you know, even with this release of the Piano and the Microphone album, 1983, you can study it, you can listen to it, and you can hear him thinking, and you can hear how at like 1 minute he sounds like Joni Mitchell, and then he sounds, you know, and then he's playing gospel, and like within the same 2 seconds, you know, and it sounds natural because it comes from the feeling, and he was great at interpreting and performing his own feelings, you know, and it all had to be authentic, so he had to get there, you know, and so there's a lot to be said for that the discipline he had as an athlete to be able to have your body do what your imagination wants it to do. And he, you know, he was incredible. There's just been nobody like him as far as I'm concerned. Just the whole package with every part of his art was extreme and excellent.
And in terms of, you know, again, the crossover, the genres, and you're right, you see all of the different and how they move fluidly, seamlessly.
Right. Yeah.
So if someone had said to you verbally, "Hey, I'm gonna hook all this up in this way," would either of you have said, "No, you can't do that"? I mean, just hearing that someone say that, you know, I guess being and experiencing it is what made the difference, right?
When I first met him, I mean, I knew, and when I shouldn't say when I first met him, when I first had the opportunity to sit down and play with him on the reel, I knew that this guy was special. There was something that he had that it would have taken me another 10 years to possess.
Right.
And he was so way ahead of his time. So I was willing to put all of everything that I was aspiring to do with my career, I put it all aside. I was like, I'm following this guy right here because this guy is going straight to the top. and that's why I allowed him to treat me the way that he did, because I knew that it came from a good place, even though it hurt sometimes. You know, he wasn't always an angel. I mean, he could be a little devil, you know, but you know, that's just the human in him. And I had a choice. I didn't have to stay there. I could go at any time. But I chose to stay and learn. And I stayed and I learned, and it made me the person I am today, not just with music, but with everything that I touched. The work ethic that he taught me, you know, I'll carry it through my entire life. So yeah, I didn't have any qualms about following him at all when I first met him.
On that same score, Bobby Z, his lasting impact on you.
Musically, it's obviously just a gift to be able to learn from somebody like that, to be involved with somebody like that, to experience a level that most people even can't imagine. So to answer your question a little bit, do people appreciate it? You know, there's only X number of people alive now who got to see him live. I think if you really needed to see Prince in a live experience, in order to see what we're talking about and why you're interviewing us today, is that this man created an environment you couldn't really take your eyes off him, but then he had us behind him. You know, when people say, come see our shows, and they go, you guys are amazing, I go, yeah, we're amazing, and then you couldn't take your eyes off him on top of it. The cherry on top was Prince. So there's just a profound feeling that we created something special. He used to call us Mount Rushmore. I mean, he was the biggest fan of Prince and the Revolution there was. You know, he knew what he created, and he knew who we were. He handpicked us, and it's just an honor to be one of those people.
Lisa, how about you? Lasting impression, even on a personal level.
Oh yeah, a lot of things, because we were really close and we shared. You know, you talk about just marrying different styles of music, and I remember my parents when I was a kid arguing about whether you could be classically trained and still play in like a funk band and really be funky, you know, and they would disagree on it, and there I was taking classical piano lessons, and I ended up playing with Prince, and who was so funky, you know, but also had the discipline and the genius of classical music, and wanted to, you know, explore music that way, just the greatness of it and the span that music can, you know, just expand forever and ever. And he's given me great personal hope that that's something worthwhile to chase in your life. And I'll just always be that musician. I'll miss him, because I thought that we'd be doing that together forever. And so I'll just keep carrying it on, you know, with him inside.
Is he there with you on stage when you all perform?
Oh yeah.
You make a mistake, you look up.
Yeah, I mean, he's just always there. Even at home when I'm playing by myself, you know, and
Would he
I'll
like
play
that?
something like, yeah, he would really like this, or I
Or
wish
he
I
would
could
really-
play this for him,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
stuff like that. It's hard.
Doctor, lasting impression on you in your life.
Well, I can relate to like what she just said, being at home playing something, or if you're writing, you always wonder if he'd like it, you know, you're trying to please him, you know, and what he would think of that. But yeah, I was in awe of him the first time I ever heard his demo tapes, which Bobby brought to me back in '77 to hear. And I just said, wow, who's the band? And Bobby goes, it's not a band. I said, it's not a band? What do you mean it's not a band? He goes, it's one guy in the studio doing everything. I go, what?
Yeah.
Because it was unheard of, really. There were hardly anybody I knew
Stevie
of that was
Wonder.
doing that. Stevie Wonder maybe,
Right.
and Todd Rundgren, but back in the early '70s. But I just said, well, how old is the guy? He goes, he's your age. You guys are the same age. And I felt so inadequate. I felt so inadequate at that moment, because I was a keyboard player. I wasn't really I played a little drums, but he was doing everything, you know.
Yeah.
And so I just said, wow, what's going to happen with him? He goes, well, we're trying to. I'm helping his manager to, out to help Prince, and hopefully he can get a record deal. They're going to be shopping it soon. I said, well, please give me an opportunity to meet him and hopefully be in his band someday.
Yeah.
And so that's how it all evolved from there, and was able to audition for him, and the rest is history. So
It is.
That's the lasting impact for me, is just being there.
It truly is history. Sony Hall,
Mm.
Thursday night, Friday night, here in New York City. And you all are traveling all over, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is there a website people can go and see where all the tour dates and everything are?
You can go to Facebook / the Revolution, or you can go to the Revolution Instagram site or Twitter.
Yeah.
It's all under the Revolution.
Yeah.
So easy to find.
You all were really his music was really probably the foundation of my high school years.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a lot of brothers, when he passed, we talked about that, because when Prince was on the scene in high school, I mean, he was the standard.
Yeah.
All the girls were in the Prince,
Exactly.
and none of us were like Prince, and couldn't live up to that. And we're like,
No.
That's where them Jerry curls came from. Man.
yeah, and so most of us were just out. We were not in, during that. But we did the best, we did the best we could.
Yeah,
with
that
what we
Jerry
had.
curl hanging down there.
No, and some of my partners did that. I didn't do it, and I probably lost out on a lot as a result of it. That's the one. He made it hard for some
Prince
of us.
took your girl.
He made it hard for all. Well, not just me, everybody. We had a whole
everybody's
Brooks Brothers
girl.
lineup. Said, man, high school was rap. It was just a rap. But on Facebook, y'all, the Revolution. Check them out. Find out where they're going to be near you, and of course, right here in the city of New York. It's really an honor to see all of you. And
Thank you.
we laugh, but we remember the music of when we were growing up and when we were young, and all the experience and where we were and where it met us, and we remember what we were doing when we heard those songs. And when I talk to musicians, I always like to acknowledge, I mean, you all do become immortal, because the songs outlive you and us, and it just gets carried on. So thank you for all you've done. We talk a lot about Prince, but you all were right there. You were the Marines. I like that. So thank you for your contribution, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Folks, that's the Revolution here at Sirius XM. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.